Today I am going to deal with the stages of sourcing process in creating the added value outcomes. So starting with what can be the stages starts with identifying and defining the needs, wherein identifying the needs means requisitioning, identifying what are the requirements, like need can be seen by the user departments or driver inventories, what are the basic requirements, what we are going for the need of procurement. Then what are the requisitions should state what the need is, either the electronic or the tricolor. Should include the following. What are those things as a requirement? Description of the product or the service, quantity required, delivery date, internal department code or the cost code, name and signature of the originator. So these are basically finding out the needs, requirements of the department, which comes under the identifying and defining the needs of the department or the organization, which is the first and the foremost stage of a sourcing process. Starting with the second thing, as we are still on identifying and defining the needs, what are the challenges met? As it should be challenged with by the buyer if specification needs clarification. You need, if any specifications are there, what are the characteristics of it, what do you want, how you want it, where you want it, what kind of a color combination, what kind of a price is, what kind of a features, all those things. So basically specification needs to be clarified in order to be delivered in a right way. Then a specification is over specified and varied too much. That also should not be there. Otherwise, the supplier will not be able to provide, neither meet your expectations, as well as suggest alternatives that will offer the better value to them. That also need to be added in the specification. Then defining the needs. When we define the needs, the stage before it's the purchasing department should be in the form of specification, service level agreements, contract terms of the buyer and the seller. So these are the things which has to be clearly defined so that supplier also gets a crystal clear idea about what he is supposed to deliver to the buyer. Is he meeting the expectation of the buyer or not? Coming on to in elaborative of identifying and defining the needs, what can be the specifications? The specifications might include what is the purpose of that specification, as in defining the requirements, communicate the requirements to both the parties, minimize the element of risk and cost, give the means of evaluating the quality and conformance of goods or services, support the standardization and consistency. That's what is defining the needs, identifying and defining the needs, which becomes clear idea for a buyer and the supplier when they are getting into a contract of procurement. As well as when we talk about the specifications can be of two types. It can be a conformance specification, it can be a performance specification. When we talk about a conformance specification, it always says specific and focused on the inputs which the supplier should clearly understand. As well as when we say performance, it is more broad and focused on the output, which should also be known to the buyer as well, clearly. When we say conformance specification, it includes the drawing, the formula, the recipe, the specifications of a brand name, model name, numbers, a sample of the product, the specification of compliance with a recognized standard. These all are the conformance specifications as a feature, as an element which should be known both to the buyer and the supplier in a clear terms. Coming on to performance specification, the functionality as it focuses on the output. So when it focuses on the output, the functionality, the performance, the capability of that particular product or service, the key process is inputs, the operating in environment, the required quality and the safety level. These all are the elements which has to be understood in clearly by the buyer and the supplier so that the output what is being supplied are being as per the standard. Then identifying and defining the needs definitely in terms of a specification has various advantages, because performance specification is advantageous when they are easier and cheaper to draft, right, as it focuses on the output. It does not depend on the technical knowledge to the buyer. Suppliers can use their full expertise because the focus is on the output. The potential supply base is much wider, as much more suppliers are there. Then coming on to performance specification should be used when the suppliers have more technical and manufacturing expertise. Suppliers can specify up-to-date technology. There is clear evaluation criteria. the buyers has enough time and expertise to access the functionality. So much more, it has to be the performance specifications which should be used or can be used in these various areas or in these various circumstances when the suppliers are much more expert in their technical expertise, and they know the technology and updated technology. They are clearly able to evaluate what are you providing to them as an output, and they have much more time to assess that particular functionality. Thank you.